What's the one thing that almost all metrics have in common? They're historical, they're in the past. Now, while they can be extremely useful to measure progress and help us forecast, they don't help us right now with our current work. But there is a metric we can use in real time that will tell us if something is wrong right now. That gives us the chance of doing something about it before it's too late and consigned to history. What is it? Well, let's find out. So, what's this amazing metric that you've probably never heard of before? Well, I'd like to introduce you to, drumroll please, an aging chart. A what? Yes, an aging chart, or more precisely, an aging work in progress chart. So, what is an aging chart and why is it important? Well, if you follow this channel, you'll know that I talk a lot about cycle time and Monte Carlo simulation. Now, the thing that they have in common is that they are looking at historical work that's finished. There's nothing you can do to improve their performance because they are done. So you need to concentrate on your work in progress, your active work, and specifically how old it is, and you need to do this every day. Now, a Scrum and Kanban board might look something like this. Now, until these stories are done, they're active, so they show your current work in progress. An aging chart will look almost exactly the same as your board, but with a few additions. So let's take a look. Oh, and there's a link in the description below to a template that you can download and have a play with your own data. Right, along the bottom, you can see your board column names, and at the side, the number of days old the story is. The story names are listed so you can read off to the left how old they are, and they're placed in their current workflow state. Now, firstly, you're going to mark your percentiles horizontally across the board. 50, 70, and lastly 85%. So, where do your percentile lines come from? Well, we get this data from your cycle times for single items that you've previously calculated. So, check the videos out in the description below for more information on what this is and how to do it. And secondly, you're going to display how old each story is and where it is in your workflow. Now, how old an active story is starts from the moment you begin a story up to but excluding when it enters done. Now, we're only interested in stories that are active, so work in progress. In my workflow here, story is only considered active when it leaves the to-do column and enters in progress. Then the timer starts and only ends when the story gets to the done column. So, only blocked on hold, in progress, and in test count as active time. Now, there's a tip here. Don't forget to use your blocked on hold column. Move an active story, so a story you've actually started, into this column whenever you're not working on it for any reason. Now, we want to work to the 85th percentile. That's our forecast for delivery. It's the 85% probability of a story actually completing. In our example here, it's 8 days. So on our aging chart, we can see here that the 50th percentile is 4 days, 70th is 6 days, and of course, the 85th is 8 days. Remember, it's only when our work is active, in progress, that we can actually do something to ensure we either improve our forecast or ensure we hit our forecast. Once it's complete, it's too late. We can't change history, unfortunately. Now, I'd recommend that you look at this each day at your daily Scrum. I find it makes the daily Scrum more meaningful, as concentrating on the age of an item usually ends up in better discussions, resulting in actions leading to the right outcome. So, you look at the aging chart and take action if necessary. Now, for example, if we're doing Scrum with 2-week sprints and we see a story that is now 4 days old, and this means in our example, it's reached our 50th percentile, would that give you pause for thought? Well, it might when you consider that this story is now bigger than 50% of all the stories we've ever seen before, and the chance of it not hitting our 85% forecast has just doubled from 15 to 30%. Now, each time our story halves the time left to complete against our 85th percentile, the chance of it not completing to 80th percentile doubles. What about when a story reaches 6 days old hitting our 70th percentile? Meaning its chance of not completing against the 85th percentile forecast has just doubled again to 60%. And this should certainly make us stop, think, and take action. Now, understanding this at the time it's happening, or before, perhaps at the 50th percentile, gives us great insight into actions we need to take on specific stories. Where is it in our workflow? If it's still in progress and not even reached testing yet, do we need to swarm on it? Is there a blocker that needs removing? Should we split the story? What can we do as a team to ensure we don't violate our forecast? Now, if we're pretty certain it's close to completion, then probably it's not a big concern. After all, we know that 15% of the time we're not going to hit our forecast anyway, since we're working to the 85th percentile. Having this data represented visually helps us understand what actions to take and importantly when. So, where does all this data come from? Well, check the videos in the description below, as I've done many detailed tutorials for you. Okay, so look, track and monitor the age of your work each day, and it will tell you if any of your work is in need of attention. it's easy to do in Excel, so use my template in the description below to get started. Now for me, using an aging chart at a daily Scrum is a game changer, as it really helps focus. Now, if you'd like to understand how to start with flow metrics, check this video out. It takes you through it step by step. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Those things really help and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching. Have a very Merry Christmas. Stay safe, stay humble, and I will see you next Thursday for another Agile Thought.